Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Shelbyville Now Sports Live. We're here today with Mr. Bill Anderson, Bubba D. McCullough, and Mr. Kenny Parker. I'm David Thomas. We're going to talk about high school football that took place this week. Everybody played last night. We had 2 victories, 2 defeats. Let's start out by talking about community. Community traveled to Perry County, came away with a 50-14 win. Guys, what are you hearing about community and their game last night?
Long bus rides. You got to be impressed to take that, taking kids on the road like that and win big like that. That was very impressive.
I haven't heard anything about the game, but I know the score didn't surprise me. Community's got some pretty decent athletes.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about that before. And to be honest, that score really didn't surprise me. I felt like Community going in was the better team. And I thought they would do that. I think his name's Fleming.
The receiver?
It's for real. He's a player. And the quarterback, the Grooms, does a good job getting it to him.
Right.
Didn't surprise me. That I was anticipating that kind of score from Community.
Well, to hang 50 points up and the way things are now, we got to see a mercy rule last night, and you've got to be running up and down the field, score 50 points.
Yeah, you do.
So,
Like clock running.
Yeah. So
where's Perry County? I don't know.
Linden, Tennessee.
Linden.
And they haven't been the single A, double A powerhouse. Now, a couple of years ago, they had a young man named Tucker. He was Brother Jack Carney's grandson. Went to school with his mother, Alicia. Was a player. And when he was there, they were good. He went on to North Alabama. But, they're a startup. They didn't play football for years. They were always a basketball school.
Well, what about their region now, communities region? What are they, 2-2 now? Or
I think
1-3?
Communities.
That was their first win, so they're 1-2.
Squatchy County won again last
Right.
night. I don't know what their score was. Giles County won again last night.
I beat Franklin County.
Yeah, and that's the 2 top teams in there.
So,
Cannon County, another one of their teams, beat Webb School last night, 28-21. Who is the Grundy County is the 5th team in that, and they got beat. I'm not sure who it was beat them, but they got beat pretty sound. So, but we've said all along, Community is definitely. I don't think they're going to be first. I don't even think they're going to be second. I think they're a solid possibility to be the 3rd team in that district.
Yeah, and go to the playoffs, so they can. Yeah, they've got a chance with the offense they have. I don't know I don't know about their defense. I don't know how it's been tested.
And I'm gonna tell you, the Community Cannon County game.
That's going to be the one.
That's going to be the one to watch.
All right, so next week they have Giles County, and
That'll be rough.
We know about Giles County.
That's going to be It's going to be all they can do to survive.
Well, big win for Community last night. We want to congratulate them. Good luck in the next week against Giles County. Before we move on, is there anything else happening in that region that surprised anybody? I was surprised that Giles County beat Franklin County, because Franklin County been playing good.
Franklin County, when I was keeping up with the scores last night, led the whole game. When I looked at and saw the score at the end of Giles County, I think it won by 3. It shocked me, because Franklin County, I believe at one time, was up 10 points or better.
It was 27-20 was the final score.
Yeah.
So
is Don still the principal at Giles County? Don Thomas?
I'm not sure. I do not know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, we want to congratulate Giles, and we're going to watch that game real close next week against Giles County. That'll be a tough one.
But that's at Giles County, right? Game's at Giles County, I believe.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Never been to a game there. That's an
Yeah,
interesting
it's
stadium.
a nice
nice.
place.
And they've done a super job fixing it up down there too.
The last time I was there, it was all concreted and it was all
It
manicured.
It looks like a
every-
small college almost.
Yeah.
It really does.
And I think it's in a park.
Yeah.
It's in a park, so
Right, the city
Kind of below
helps
sea level or
the
whatever
city
in
and
there.
all help
maintain it.
Yeah.
They take pride in it too.
And the way that stadium sits, you're sort of down below sea level, and the noise. It's a neat place if you've never seen it.
I'll tell you, I remember years ago when I was at Shelbyville, and we took a JV team, our freshman team, to Giles County to play and that's exactly where we played. And it's not the same place it was then.
No, it's
No,
been well,
yes.
well.
They've got one of the
It
best
was-
press boxes of
It
any
was-
high school
it
you'll
was
see. I mean,
not
it's
a good
professional.
But they have really put some money in the baseball field right beside it. Looks
Yeah,
pretty dang good too.
those folks down in Pulaski want to take care of their sports teams.
Yeah.
They see that as an icon for their
Right.
city and their county. So that's good. It's good to see communities come together like that. All right, let's move on now to Cascade. Cascade traveled down to Linville and
No,
played
they went to Hunt.
Hunt. That's right down the road from Linville.
No,
Is it not?
Mm-mm.
Well, I must have been looking at the map wrong. I was
That's how
really going
That's how
over there.
Winchester.
Glad you didn't go. Try to go watch
Yeah.
Cascade.
Huh?
Should have.
Well, who is that I'm talking about over there?
Linville's Perry County.
Linville, Tennessee? Not Linden.
I've never heard
Linville.
of
I
it.
went. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Linville's
Linville's
Richland.
Richland.
okay,
Yeah,
Richland.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we
Huntland is a plumb on the other side of Winchester.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
That's why I
So
told you, take
I
it
gotta
out to
learn
get
my
there. I used to
It's
drive
geography.
there a lot.
it's down around Elora.
Oh, okay, all right. I gotta get my
Glenville.
geography. Hey, if I'd gone to the game last night, y'all be laughing at me right now because I would have been at Huntland,
We wouldn't have, if you hadn't have told us, we wouldn't have known.
not Huntland. What y'all call that?
And what-
Richland.
and what's-
The lands.
Mhm.
What is Huntland famous for?
Johnny Majors.
Johnny Majors.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
people
Johnny
remember
Majors.
that.
That's what they played on Johnny Majors field.
Let's move on to the score. 31-0. So Jake had a good win last night.
Had a good win. I asked somebody. I didn't go. I went and watched the Shovel game. I had some stats sent to me. The quarterback, Zamari Dixon, ran for a
Right.
touchdown, threw for a touchdown. The little workhorse Connor Huey had 11 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown. And then number 12, Joel Anthony. I haven't seen or heard a whole lot from him, but he carried 5 times for 54 yards and a touchdown and caught a 64-yard touchdown pass. Cascade had 319 total yards offense, and 11 different people carried the football, ran the football. So they had 11 people,
A lot of
At least.
contributors.
11 people in all. So,
Those of you
and I'm
call
going
it.
to tell you, if you've never been, Huntland's a good little place to play. I love the coaches down there.
Mhm.
Great friends of mine. Probably best as good of friends as I got in football. Bob Robertson. Played against him when he was at Huntland, and he's been there for a pretty good while. He is Huntland. But good people, good place to play, and another stadium that's really changed.
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
And you want to play on a nice turf, as good a turf as the kids are going to play on.
Well, that brings up something. You got we were just talking about Giles County. You go to other small communities and you see this. I mean, when you look at Webb, that's a different situation. Look at artificial turf.
Mm-hmm.
You got this stadium that you're talking about. It seems like that a lot of these small communities really gravitate around these sports teams.
It's their identity.
Yeah.
It's their identity. And at Huntland, they pretty much shut the doors when it comes game time.
Yeah, they did the whole little. Everybody shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
Always
Well,
have.
Signs up and down the road,
Yep.
Go Hornets and Love You Blue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That is good. It's good to see. What happened last night in their region? I've got Forest got beat by Moore County. Moore County must be the real
I
deal.
told you earlier, Moore County's better than a lot of people. And here's the thing. Here's what's scary about Moore County. They're not losing many. They're
gonna
not
be back.
losing many.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get Moore County, this is the year to get them. and they're pretty good.
Ooh.
They're
This is
pretty
the
good.
year to get them. That might
This
not
is
be good.
this is the year to get them because the next 2 years they're going to be pretty tough.
What grade is the white kid in?
So he's a junior.
He's a junior. He can play.
Oh yeah,
He can
and,
play. It's like his brother could play. He can play
yeah.
good.
He's a quarterback. He runs the show for them. The Morley. Maury.
Yep.
Good little receiver. They got some good players, and I'm there. I remember a few years ago they said this is probably the best middle school team they've ever had at Moore County. Those kids are sophomores and juniors right now, and one of them, their quarterback at that time, has moved on. He's at Oakland now, so they lost him, but yeah, they're gonna be pretty good. And they're pretty solid. I'm not sure who I don't know what I can't.
Richland beat Hickman County 20-0.
Don't surprise me. Richland, we've already talked about Richland. They're gonna be pretty
That's
good.
this Friday night at Cascade, and that's going to be a big ball
Yeah,
game.
that's this
Richland's
Friday
undefeated, right? Aren't they 3-0?
I think they are. No, I think they got beat last week.
Did it?
So Cascade moves to 2-2.
Correct.
And that's, you look back, they played Moore County pretty decent, didn't they? I mean, they didn't get this.
No, they felt like they had a chance now, and it was first game of the
Right.
season, but they felt like if they hadn't turned the ball over, they again, like with what Coach we talked about earlier with the game last night, a lot of turnovers. If Cascade kicked off to Moore County takes a slow walks it, gets it in, scores a touchdown. They kick off to Cascade first play, fumble, they go in, they're down 14-0.
So they had a hold up early.
And then they beat them. Cascade beat them the second half, but
Right.
they had a little cushion, so you played a little different when you get a cushion.
Now you look at Mount Pleasant, they played them tough. So Cascade is shaping up to, I think they're set right now to make a little run.
They have to play well. They can't beat themselves.
Right.
They have to play within themselves. But they got a good chance of
Friday night is probably the biggest game of the year for them so far. Will be this Richland game. I hope everybody gets out and takes
This
a look at it.
Richland
This
game
is it.
is going to be a big
ball game.
Mhm. Sure will.
All right, let's move on to Webb. Webb took on Cannon County last night. They got beat 28-21. I don't know much about Cannon County, but I know you do, Kenny.
I was impressed with Cannon County when I saw them play. They've got a running back, number one. I don't know. He's a junior. I apologize, guys. I don't know his name, but they impressed me a little bit. They're another team. They're not going to beat you with athletes.
Right.
They're like Cascade. They're not going to beat you with athletes. They're not going to outrun anybody. They're going to have to be a banger.
Yeah.
And that's the way they play. They play a physical, bang football and try to keep you contained and keep from giving up the big score. But I was impressed with Cannon County when I saw them play.
So Webb evidently
And
put on a good showing there.
And like I said last week when we talked about Webb and they'd scored 59, I think the bang game is not what Webb is good at.
Right.
Because I did not think they were as good up front. And they got some skill people.
Right.
They've got some pretty good skill people, but they're not a team that if you were to say you cannot throw the ball, I don't think they can beat you. They're gonna have to.
That's how you used to coach, Kenny.
That's the way I like it.
Don't throw the ball.
That's boring football.
No, it ain't.
But you know what? It's like you said, we had that conversation. And when you look up there and you're ahead at the end of the game, everybody's happy. But during the game, they're fussing at you.
You can say that, but when you played, that's what we did also.
Well, it's pretty easy when you handed the ball to Roger Porter and Don
I didn't
Castleman.
coach-
Don Castleman.
There you go. We had Don. We had Don, but we had I got to see him last night. We had a number one. His name was Jason Baker.
Boogie Baker.
We had a number 10 that was a McCullough, some guy by the name of McCullough. We could hand the ball to him, and evidently we could throw it to him a little bit too. So, but I really think if you want to make if you want to put a dagger in somebody's chest and really break them down in football,
Smack them, just run.
drive them, just run it right down the field at them. And when they can't stop that, they know they don't have a chance.
Yeah.
And they get tired of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'll pitch in that towel about halfway through the third quarter. All right, guys. So Webb, big win last night.
Oh, they got beat.
Well, I mean, good game, but lost.
Yeah, right.
Who do they play next? I hadn't got that down.
I do not know, but it's another non-conference.
You're right.
We talked about it. The way they do theirs is they play all non-conference games, and then about the last 5 games of the season, they're all district games.
Really?
They're all.
Yep.
Well, let's take a pause right now and get a word from our sponsor. We want to thank First Bank again for being a Shelbyville Now sponsor. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll have some discussion on the Shelbyville Central game. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, welcome back in here to Shelbyville Now Live. We were looking at the schedule during the break, and Webb is off next week, so they have a break. So we'll only have 2 county teams playing next week, and that'll be Cascade and Community. Shelbyville will have a break, and guys, I think they need a break right now.
It'll be a good time for them to you've got 4 games. You can see what you've done in 4 games. You can see where your strengths are, and where your strengths are, it's time to start playing to your strengths. You can see where your weaknesses are, and it's time to start working on that. To be honest with you, I think one of the things that they need to work on, just me watching him, and we're talking, and the way I coached and played the game, the trenches.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to work on what they're going to do up front. But until you can block some people, you're not going to be successful in this game.
And when you come up against the defense like we saw last night,
you're going to have to block, because those guys are so athletic. They can just run around you and just run to you. And with a team like Riverdale last night, totally athletic. Yeah, man, were they athletic? You got to 3-yard them. You got to 3-yard them. You got to 4-yard them. You don't play for touchdowns. You play for first downs. Yeah. You play the keep away game. And I admire what the coach did in that. There's going to be a lot of people that are questioning what he did last night, the Sheffels coach. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I couldn't even point him out if I saw him. But I respect that he knew going into the game that it was going to be a real struggle. And he was going for it on 4th down early in the game, knowing that it's going to be a keep away type game, and he needed the ball. And I understand that it was on the -45 one time and the +45 one time, but I admire him for doing that, because he's correct. Now, one thing that hurt him, though, and I'll say this, those 2 things, they weren't successful on either one of them, but I don't believe they gave up scores after them. They gave up scores after they turned the ball over.
Right.
One play drive.
Play drives. I mean, there were times in the first quarter, toward the end of with about 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter, the score was 0-0. And then the next 3 offensive plays Riverdale had were touchdowns. And when the first quarter's over, it's 21-0. And those all 3, I believe.
So when they
came off turnovers,
they scored. We fumble on our first play after that possession. They get it. They score on the very next play. Then you're lining up, and you've got a chance to make that game 20. Well, you got a chance to make it 21-10 if you can punch it in down there. Get to the 2-yard line, and we self-destruct.
And then we go for a field goal. get it
Yes.
blocked. He picks it up, runs it all the way back. So you got a chance for it to be decently respectable at
Right.
21-6. And with that blocked field goal, it's 28-3. And kids knowing all right now that it's going to be pretty tough.
Right.
And
It's a lot easier to go in at halftime. And just think if they'd scored a touchdown, it'd been 21-10.
sure,
That's a lot better.
I
You look
agree.
at it,
And then we're getting the ball back.
then we're getting the
Getting
ball
the
back.
ball
Hey,
back.
you got a chance to make this 21-17 in a ball game. Just that one little series right there just flipped the game to where it was out of reach
And
almost.
again, just like what we talked about earlier with one of the teams we were talking about. You got to play within yourself. You can't beat yourself. Going into that game last night, Shelbyville knew that they had they could not match them with athletics.
Yeah.
They could not match them with that. But I bet they turned the ball over 4 or 5 times. And I don't think any of those were interceptions. I think they were all
Fumbles.
fumbles.
I can remember 4.
I know. I think we lost 3 fumbles that they picked up, but then you got that blocked.
And that's a fumble. I mean, that's a turn.
Yeah, and
But
then you had a punt that was over
Snapped
the
over the
snap
head, yeah.
over the head, and our punter did a good job of just getting his foot on it,
I agree. Yep.
and it hit one of their guys, and we could have recovered it, but then they pick it up, run around, and they got a penalty. But all that is just the ball was on the ground a lot, and just a lot of mistakes.
You can't beat yourselves in those kind of games.
But now anybody was there, number 31 is Caleb Herring, and he's already signed at the University of Tennessee.
Well,
one
he's
of
committed that
well,
nobody can sign.
committed, but he's going.
Yeah.
His brother's already there.
Right.
I knew about number 3, Jalen Thompson, the receiver. He's a big time player. Who in the world was number 2 last night? I looked out there and I thought, who is this guy? And he looked like a big time prospect to me.
Looked like a grown man when I
Yeah,
saw
he
him
did.
Playing with boys. I mean, he
Well, he's about
was
6'5",
impressive. Oh, yeah.
what about
I'm
250?
telling you, they look good in the uniform.
They
Oh,
sure
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I look back at their schedule, and they barely beat Franklin. They got beat by Blackman last week, and it was all because of mental mistakes, penalties that game they gave up. They've got the athletes, that's for sure. I don't think we'll see another team. I don't know.
Unless it's Oklahoma,
Just
they got
look
even
at
more
it.
athletes than
But that's
Riverdale.
assuming we're going to the playoffs.
I can tell you something about Riverdale, and I didn't realize it till I saw Coach Kresge last night when he walked in. He was there with me. He shook my hand. He interviewed for the Cascade job when I stepped down.
Is that right?
Yeah,
So how long has he been at Riverdale now?
Well, he didn't get the job at Cascade. We went, I believe it's either he or his brother went to Forest and coached at Forest a little bit. And this is about his 3rd year or 4th year at Riverdale, 3 or 4.
He's got a twin that's at,
Yeah,
where's he at?
I'm not sure.
Golly.
But they,
Centennial,
okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
Well, I think this off week is good, and I think it gives, like you were saying, a chance to refocus on what's going on. And the kids probably need a break just to mentally, gather themselves.
Mhm.
So what do you do in these 2 weeks, Kenny?
Now here's the thing. You've got this break. You look at it. Look at it. We're 0-4.
Right.
We're 0-1. We're 0-1.
That's the region record.
That's the only record that counts is the region record. Now, we got to gear ourselves for Lebanon. We got to gear ourselves for Warren County. We got to gear ourselves for Cookville. We win 2 of those 3, we're in. Now, all we want to be is in now. Now, we know what's going to happen when we're in. We're going to have to go face that Rutherford County jogger.
Right.
Lot of people, but we want to be in. We want to build. So that's what we got. We got to look at focusing on what we got to do to make it. We're 0-1. Forget those others. Those were scrimmage games preseason.
Right.
Our season starts in 2 weeks.
Right. So they've got 6 games left. Let's look at their region. Warren County got beat by Mount Juliet 41-0 last night. didn't score a point. Coffee County went down to Page, 28-14.
Got beat.
Siegel beat Lebanon, 31-28. That shocked me a little bit. And then White County beat Cookville, 59-54. Okay, I don't know what White County's got, but 59 points and 54 points. That's a lot. That's 113 points scored in a high school football game. So that tells me Cookville, they're not just a cakewalk. So you got to play Cookville. That's the last game of the year, I believe, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
up
Coach.
there.
Up
At
there.
their place.
At their place. Lebanon is the one that looks like to be in the driver's seat for the region. And you got Coffee County, which we've lost to. We can make that loss go away if we take care of business against Cookville and Warren County. And then, Lebanon, that's going to be a tough one. That puts you in sitting about third place, probably.
Mhm.
So there's a possibility for these seniors to get a playoff game. Now, let me ask you your take on this, Kenny. Going into a playoff with a 3-7 record, let's say, or a 4-6 record.
When you get into the playoff,
You're in
you're
the
nothing,
playoffs.
nothing.
Yeah, it's
And
exactly.
I know you're may have to travel, but you got a chance.
Right. But going against the Rutherford County teams, like you said, what does a coach think about going right there? Is that just like we're getting extra practice time? We get these guys over here and they get to experience a playoff game. What's your thoughts?
All the above.
All that.
Yeah, all of what you said. You gonna win with a mindset that we're gonna win, but we're gonna work on things. It's a win. Shelbyville been successful. When's the last time they weren't in the playoffs? Been several years, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what it does is it keeps the tradition going.
Right.
It keeps the tradition going. We're a playoff caliber team. It keeps the tradition going. It's tough. We're in a tough situation. Shelbyville's in a tough situation. They're 6A ball. They're playing 6A ball. Now, not every team they play. Well, every team they play almost is 6A, but but they've got a chance to keep the tradition. Let's keep treading the water until we've got a chance to find land or find something. But let's keep it going. Let's don't tank it and
Right.
fall in. Let's keep it going. And good things are down the road.
I think,
and good
yeah,
things
We got
are there.
talent coming.
There is, but there's some talent on the field.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
There's not the talent that Riverdale has, but there's talent on the field. They've got winnable winnable talent. But I think it's got to be mixed a little different, and fundamentals has got to change a little bit. We cannot turn the ball over.
Oh yeah.
We've got to block better. We've got receivers. We've got good running backs. We got a good quarterback. We got some good receivers. We got to give those guys some time to make plays.
Right.
Defensively, I think we're pretty decent. Got to work on some things there. Getting some turnovers on defense. There's the season is not over with now, and they're 0-1 as far as I'm concerned.
But how good is Rutherford County football? Just like you mentioned a minute ago, Siegel beats Lebanon, which
Man.
Siegel's no joke. But let's really think what's over there.
All
Is
of
there a
that.
place in the state with better county football
I
than
think
Rutherford County right now?
I think what we've seen happen over the last 15 years is the east side of Nashville talent, like the Hillsborough talent,
Yes.
has shifted into Rutherford County. It's still there to some degree, but not to the degree because people have moved over into Rutherford County. If you look at the population growth, Nashville or Davidson County has given up ground to Rutherford County. In the last 5 years, Davidson County has decreased in population, and Rutherford County has exploded, of course. But a lot of that is people easing out of the big city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I think there's more emphasis going into it in Rutherford County now. I mean, you look at facilities, you look at and facilities is not going to win football games.
Yeah.
Facilities are not going to win football games. What wins football games are athletes and coaches.
Yeah.
Athletes and coaches. But I think the administration and people, they put more They put more emphasis in it, which may draw another athlete or two. But there's and I why has it gotten better? Riverdale and Oakland. I mean, when you look at it, Riverdale and Oakland's won a state championship. Smyrna's won. Okay, so you
Blackman's
got
pretty good.
Blackman's.
They've
been
turned
there.
out some Division
Yeah,
One ball
they
players.
sure have.
But when you get there, you know you got to compete.
And Siegel has put out some
And-
big time athletes too, believe it or not.
But a lot of that goes to coaching. It's Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy's and Joe's, and you got to make them. You got to make them. You got to create them.
Do Oakland and Riverdale now have facilities on campus, or they still play within TSU?
No,
Oh,
they
yeah.
have.
They got everything
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's the old days of playing at middle are over.
And I tell you, so several of those schools, I know my buddy at Oakland, they're not afraid of playing kids on both sides of the ball.
No,
No,
No.
They're not
not.
afraid of linemen playing both sides of the ball. You go watch Moore County play, and Coach White is a Gary Rankin product. He coached at Riverdale. He played for Rankin at Riverdale. He coached there. They're not afraid to play kids on both sides of the ball.
I
they'll go
think.
schedule somebody out of state too. They don't care.
And
Big time.
sometimes you got to do
Let
that.
me ask you your philosophy on this. All right, let's say you got 15 kids that you think, man, these guys are starters, and you got some you make them go both ways, and you just we're gonna give you a break when we can, but we're gonna put you on the field. All right, versus those 15, and that's what you're gonna do with them. Versus adding to it. Do you think that adding to it and making a definite offensive and defensive squad dilutes your talent to the point to where you can't win ball games? Or is it, I guess every situation's different.
When I was coaching, I asked some guys that very same question, and one of them happened to be the coach at CPA, and that's when they first started. And he said, Kenny, at our size school, you've got 14 or 15 kids that you can count on. He said, you may have a kid that is a very good offensive and defensive lineman, but he can't play both sides of the ball the whole game. He may be your best offensive tackle. He may be your best defensive tackle, but he can't play both sides of the ball. So what you do is you find out, where's his best backup? Is his best backup on the offensive side? Is his best backup on the defensive side?
Yeah.
If his best backup's on the offensive side, concentrating more on defense. Don't play him as much as on offense, but there's always going to be drives and situations in the game where you need your best. Then you put him on offense for those situations.
Right.
You may need to be coming out of the end zone. This may be a big drive that we got to answer. This may be a second or a third down that we need to get a first down. Then in those situations, you make sure you got your best 11 on the field, because you've got to rest them, and you've got to rest the big boys more than you rest the skill position people.
Right.
Because when you run a big boy out of juice, he's out of juice.
Right.
He ain't coming back.
Do you think it correlates? Just thinking back to when I was in school, we didn't specialize in any sport, right? Kind of like what you see now,
Yeah, exactly.
where you have whoever pushing a kid to strictly play basketball or baseball or whatever. So does that come into play with?
I definitely think.
I wanted to play everything. I wasn't big enough to play everything, but I wanted to play everything. But I don't think kids now want to play on both sides. I don't know.
Well,
But you know what I'm trying to say?
the kids that want to play on both sides of the ball are kids that want to win.
Exactly.
True.
The kids that want to play just on one side of the ball and specialize, they're doing this, because they think there's something bigger
Down
the horizon for them.
Right.
You want them. I always wanted the player to play for me that didn't care how many times he carried the ball, how many times he threw the ball, how many tackles he had. He wanted to know what the score was at the end of the game.
There you go.
And I'm gonna tell you, when a game was over with, and I had a player that asked how many tackles he had, let me tell you right, I'm chewing that tail because I didn't care. I didn't care how many yards we rushed for.
All right.
I didn't care how many tackles we had. I cared about what was on that scoreboard, and I think you are correct. You got a valid point where we're pushing people, and I'm gonna tell you, coaches inside of school recruit to get athletes because they don't want to share them.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want to share them. They won't, and that's when it all has to mix together. And we've got to be team players inside the building also.
I think too, sports have changed so much from when you played. You've got all this travel ball and basketball. You've got the baseball teams. You got
7-on-7 leagues.
yes,
It's all
and you've
summer
got
long.
and you've
Yep.
got sports overlapping now, and it's hard for a kid to play baseball, basketball, and football anymore.
Well, I've said that I helped create the youth football program for the Duck River Valley. And I've said this, and I'll say it again on air so everybody can hear me. Youth athletics is good. But I think a lot of times we burn them up.
Yeah,
We
good
burn them up by the time they get to the 6th and 7th grade,
Yep.
where we control where they go. When they get to high school and we don't have control and they've got cars and stuff, they're tired of playing. They don't want to play. They've had all of that they want. So now they go and we don't know where they are. You started playing football about the fourth or fifth grade at the earliest.
Fourth grade,
I
fourth,
did,
fifth, and
yeah.
sixth.
I
Yeah.
didn't get to play it when I lived in Bell Buckle. We didn't have youth football. And back in that day, there was only 4 teams, and
That's what there was here in Shelbyville.
we
14.
didn't even have a junior high. I played on the first junior high team at Cascade when I was in 8th grade. That's the first time I played any organized football. Played sandlot football quite a bit. You don't see that anymore neither.
No.
But I think we burn them up, burn them out a little too quick, and they love it. I mean, but
Well, and I worry about that with my youngest son. We played summer baseball in Mississippi and Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and 3 times in the state of Alabama. And
now when he's getting into middle school and high school, does he still want to
Yeah,
play? Okay, good.
That's a good thing. Every kid's different.
Sure.
But I think
Coming in here too by Coach Tyre, I thought gave a great interview on 104.5 this morning. He was really good, but he was talking about how his running back is also his middle linebacker, and he's out there all the time.
Sure, yes.
But he said he only had 4 guys going both ways this year, but none of them were linemen. It was skill positions, and he had 4.
And it's tough, but
But picture that kid getting 20, 25 carries, and then he's going right back out there middle linebacker.
I have a good friend of mine, Chuck Craig, who loves to tell this story. We're playing Joe Burns, and Joe Burns is good.
Yeah, they were real good.
We were at Cascade, so they're in their white uniforms, and it's a muddy field. It's a muddy track, so you know what happens to white when it gets dirty. It's
did
dirty.
you water it that day before the game?
No.
Yeah, water the field.
Son's probably out all
Turn that
day.
sprinkler
Got
on.
the sprinkler
But it
system.
don't matter. It didn't happen. We were playing Joe Burns. It didn't matter. But I think they were runner up in the state that year or something. But anyway, it don't matter. Chuck will tell you at the end of the game, you look over at Joe Burns' sidelines, and every one of their kids, with the exception of about 3, look like they just now run off on the field
yeah.
because they only played about 14 or 15 kids the whole game. The whole game.
The whole game.
I'm going to tell you, I went down and watched Coach Rankin when he was at Riverdale, and they were good. They didn't play very many. They may have had 99 kids on their field, on their roster.
Yeah.
They didn't play 99. They may have played 17 or 18 kids the whole game.
I'm
The whole
thinking
game.
Central is in this situation right now. I think they're in a situation where they got 14, 15 kids that could just sit there and play both ways. And I did, but some of that's line, and that's where you get into that situation where you get that fatigue coming in the fourth quarter. But I think that they're in that situation, but yet they're right now they're trying to play 25 to 30.
And you've got to know your team. I know when Coach Tyre played for me at Cascade, his senior year, I had 13 four-year seniors. That team had 13 four-year seniors. I had an entire offensive line that was made up of seniors, and I had an entire defensive line that was made up of seniors, and there was only one kid that played both ways. Now that was a luxury.
Right.
I've had teams where I only had 3 seniors, and you don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
You have to play a lot of kids both sides of the ball.
One of my dear friends growing up, and Bill knows, Ted Robinson.
Yep.
Our senior year of high school made all district on both sides of the ball, center and nose
He
guard.
sure did.
Yeah.
And he weighed about 175 pounds.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. And we blocked people and ran the football too.
Yeah,
we weren't that big,
Yeah.
and we ran the football.
But you did what?
Ran the football.
And you
Blocked.
there you go.
And
Weren't that big
and
either.
guess
It's
what?
one-
How big was Rob Newton?
190
Maybe.
at
Ah.
tops.
I mean,
Well,
we
if
weren't
he's
big.
open,
I mean, we
yeah,
had
so
some bigger
what?
kids, but we had some
He
200
played
pound
tackle,
kids
didn't
blocking people.
Play tackle.
Play tackle.
Yeah.
All right. That proves it can be done. And you know what? You said you ran the ball, and you what else? Won. You won
We
a lot of
blocked
ball
and we
games.
tackled and we
won ball
we were
games.
physical.
Well, guys, let's wrap this up. We've got 2 county teams playing this week. Get out, support them. We've got Webb and Shelbyville with weeks off.
Both Cascade and Community are at home this week. Both are at home.
Opportunities to get a crowd. By the way, the crowd last night at Shelbyville I thought was good considering it was threatening rain. Riverdale brought a pretty good crowd, so it's good to see a lot of folks out.
Yep.
Keep coming. Keep standing behind these kids. And guys, anything else y'all want to say before we go? Well, we want to say thank you to First Bank for being a sponsor of Shelbyville Now, and look for us next Saturday morning, same
Yep.
time, 9:00, and we'll recap the games from that weekend. Again, thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you real soon.